thank you all so much for coming along to today's mindfulness class. My name is Renee and I am the facilitator for the mindfulness today. So we're going to take you through lots of different ideas around mindfulness, and you might already have some practices that have worked for you in the past. Today's session is about giving you some tools that you can take away and practice and see if they integrate well with your current lifestyle, and they may be helpful in things like stress, managing stress or anxiety, or maybe even supporting sleep. So a lot of the practices that I'm going to suggest to you today are actually evidence-based practice. So there's been studies and research conducted that shows that even doing these simple things for a few minutes a day, 5 or 10 minutes, can actually really benefit your nervous system and your health. And those are some of the reasons why we've chosen these practices. And just to give you a bit of a background on me, I am a nutrition and lifestyle coach, and I've also been working with Look Good, Feel Better for over 15 years, facilitating skincare and makeup classes. My past career was actually as a makeup artist and working in the beauty industry. So that's how I started working with Look Good, Feel Better, and really enjoy supporting this group and people who are undergoing treatment for cancer. So the first thing that we're going to do is an introduction to a breathing technique. So our breath can really influence the way that our body is feeling, and our breath is really important. So if we're shallow breathing, for example, it can contribute to stress. If we are breathing diaphragmatically, it can actually really help to down-regulate our nervous system into that rest and digest parasympathetic mode. So it's really fantastic if we can have a simple, portable, easy to remember practice like box breathing, for example, that we can take with us anywhere, and it can actually really make a physical change to our body in the moment. So we're going to also, just to note, I want you to be comfortable today. So I realize you may all be at different times in your treatment journey. So if at any time you feel like turning off your screen, please feel free to do that. I love seeing your faces, but I really understand if you want to have your screen off, you can do that at any time. Also, for this breath practice, you can switch your screen off and lie down if you prefer to do that, or you can stay seated. So I'll give you a moment to make any adjustments that you would like to. Box breathing is an evidence-based practice. It's something that is actually practiced by Navy SEALs. And for them, it's about getting into a calm, clear state, but also maximizing oxygen output into the tissues, which is what happens when we breathe properly. And that can really support energy as well. So that's a fantastic thing. Okay, so if you are comfortable to do so, I invite you to, if you're seated, to have your back relatively straight, and that's going to support good breathing because we're going to have more room for our lungs, and feet flat on the floor, if you can do that. And I invite you, if you're comfortable to do so now, you can close your eyes or you can cast your eyes down. We're going to start before box breathing with a simple body scan, and that's just going to help us to arrive in the space, being a little bit more mindful before we make this practice of box breathing. So I'd like you to start by just focusing on the feeling of your feet flat on the floor. Don't judge whether or not your feet feel very solidly on the floor, lightly on the floor. Just notice what there is to notice in this moment. See if you can feel which parts of your feet are in contact with the ground beneath you. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, just try to relax all the muscles and bones in your feet and allow your feet to be heavy into the ground. Moving up to your knees, just take a moment to notice any sensations. Anything there is to notice around your knees. Take an inhale, and in your own time, exhale and just relax your knees, lower legs, and your feet heavy into the floor. Moving up now to your hips, and you might notice the point where you feel yourself in the seat. Just take an inhale and exhale in your own time, and just allow a feeling of heaviness weightedness, relaxation through your hips, upper legs, knees, lower legs, and feet, all relaxing down, feeling heavy. Moving up now to your abdomen. We can commonly hold tension around this area, so I invite you to take an inhale. With an exhale, just let go of any holding, any tension in your abdomen. Moving up now to the chest and to the shoulders. With an inhale, if you are able to and comfortable to do so, just lightly shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. And on the exhale, just relax them down and back. Give them a little wiggle if that helps you to settle them down. And just notice a feeling of heaviness and weightedness from your shoulders now down through your abdomen, your hips, legs, knees, and feet heavy into the floor. Moving now finally up to your upper neck, your jaw, and your face. Just try to release any holding or tension that might be there. We often unconsciously hold tension in our jaw. Take an inhalation, and as you exhale, just try to let go and relax all the muscles of your face, neck, shoulders, chest, abdomen, hips, knees, ankles, everything heavy and relaxed, and notice that feeling of your feet flat on the floor. So we're not going to fully come back because we're going to move straight into the box breathing, but just notice for a moment if anything in your body or your breath feels differently to it did just a few minutes ago before this body scan. And sometimes you may notice a shift in your breath, your energy, or your feeling of being present. And that's a good example of a short mindfulness practice. So with box breathing, if you haven't had any experience with box breathing before, imagine that this box has 4 equal sides, and we're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. We're going to hold across the top of the box for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. Now, sometimes when you start a breath practice like this, if you're not regularly practicing a breathing technique, it might feel that those intervals are too long. So really important that you shouldn't feel like you're holding or straining your breath at any time. If my intervals are a bit slow and I count a little bit faster than 4 seconds probably, please go along faster than me and just keep the rhythm. So it might be 3 in, hold 3, exhale 3, hold 3. Absolutely fine. So really important not to strain at any time. So we'll just take a couple of natural breaths to prepare. I'll talk you through 5 or 6 rounds, full rounds of the box breathing, and then I will ask you to repeat them yourself in your own head in your own time after that. So one final inhale and exhale. And we'll breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. And hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. And hold 2, 3, 4. Now continue with this breath pattern for another 5 rounds. You can do these intervals at your own pace or keep that 4-second block interval going. And as you complete your last 1 or 2 rounds, just notice if anything has changed in the way that you feel. You might be finishing your final round, and if you are, you can allow your breath to return to whatever feels normal for you and comfortable. No longer with any rules around the breathing, just let it be. If you need to, give yourself a little wriggle, fingers, toes, shoulders, and slowly come back into this space. Welcome back. Has anyone practiced box breathing before, or is it your first time? Yes, some. Yeah. Oh, it looks like everyone nearly. Amazing. So do you find it helpful, or is something you've used? Yeah, it's a really simple one, and it's proven to lower blood pressure and be really supportive of reducing anxiety and stress. The thing I think is really great about something like box breathing or the 4-7-8 breath is that they're totally portable. You can even do them in a waiting room, and people often won't even know that you're doing any breath technique. So if you're waiting for treatment, for example, and you're feeling anxious or you're feeling stressed, a couple of minutes while you're seated and waiting for something to start, box breathing could be really supportive. So that's a tool that we like to practice and teach. So we'll move back into our PowerPoint now, and we'll start just with a little bit of an overview of what is mindfulness. I'm just going to move myself there. So, and it's also, what does mindfulness mean to you? But essentially, mindfulness means being present in the moment that we're in, being conscious and aware, not being overly reactive, not feeling overwhelmed. And of course, there's going to be times that we feel overwhelmed, but we can't be mindful and overwhelmed at the same time. Leaning into gratitude, thinking about how that could be something that we work on, and also looking for the positive. So on the next slide, there's an image that I always find really helpful when it comes to mindfulness. And so you can see there that there is somebody who's walking their dog in the park, and in their mind, there is a lot going on. And that's probably what most of us are like from day to day. And then you can see the doggy who's in the park, and he can see that the trees are green, the sun's shining, and he's enjoying his walk. Now, I don't think it's necessarily realistic for us to be like the dog, because our brains are different and we're wired differently, but maybe somewhere in between could be what mindfulness looks like for you. Does anyone have any thoughts or feelings about that image? I think it's quite a nice one just to give a bit of perspective. So on the next slide, I've just got a couple of minute video, and it's just a little overview about mindfulness. So we'll play that now.
There is a story, usually attributed to the Native American tradition, which illuminates different ways of paying attention. An elder, talking to a child, says, "I have 2 wolves fighting in my heart. One wolf is fearful, vengeful, envious, resentful, and deceitful. The other wolf is compassionate, loving, generous, truthful, and peaceful. The child asks, which wolf will win the fight? The elder responds, the one I feed. That doesn't mean we try to deny or hurt or kill the angry wolf. If we did that, we'd end up in a long battle, all the while somehow making that wolf more powerful through our hostility and fear. Hating that wolf sucks the strength right out of us. Instead, we calmly pay attention to the angry wolf and let go of believing they have the answers. If we can do that, they end up lying down next to us, no longer an enemy. We help strengthen the kind and loving wolf, giving it nourishment and support so that we can follow it. That peaceful wolf can become our steady companion and show us the way through all kinds of different life experiences. Restful or chaotic, enjoyable or disappointing experiences may come and go, but we can have a guide with us through it all. This is what mindfulness can help you do. Mindfulness allows us to see our thoughts and feelings as they are beginning. It's very powerful to know what we're feeling as we're feeling it, know what we're thinking as we're thinking it. With mindfulness, we can choose what will strengthen and bring into action, and we can choose what we will gently let go of. We don't have to be at the mercy of old habits or old ways of thinking or old ways of being. We are empowered. It just takes practice.
So I find that just quite a nice sort of summary, another way of thinking about mindfulness. So another concept that I wanted to explore with you today is something called dose chemistry. Has anybody heard of this before? Yay! So I love dose chemistry and I've seen it in action and it can be very powerful. So it's something that I'm really passionate about, and it is probably quite early days, but there is some research around it. And dose essentially stands for our happy hormones or our neurochemicals that make us feel good. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And I really love this next slide because it gives you tools, and the idea behind getting your daily dose is actually doing things, simple things, actionable steps as part of your daily routine that can up-regulate your dose chemistry. So essentially, the more we do things or the more time we spend in these happy states, the more that we strengthen those neural pathways in the brain and the more that we have of these chemicals. So it's cool, and there is science behind it, and I'm going to play a video after this to sort of explain how that works in the brain. But if you've heard anything about how meditation can really change people's perspectives or views, or the way that they live in their body or the way that they feel, down-regulating that stress, that is sort of along the same lines of research and evidence. So we'll go through them one by one. And the first one is dopamine. So dopamine, you may have heard, is our reward. It's our reward neurotransmitter. And we get a hit of dopamine when we complete a to-do list. Now, a simple tip with to-do lists is don't make them too long or don't make them unrealistic. And then we get the hit of dopamine. So if for the day you have 2 things that you must achieve, for example, that you know that are essential, whether that be at work or maybe at home, put those really things that you're able to, that are realistic, tick off on the day, and you'll get your hit of dopamine. Don't make the longest to-do list in the world that you never get to the bottom of. Now, we do share a copy of this as well so that you can have it. Are you able to see the screen, a big format? You are fantastic. So you're seeing the full brain bootcamp. That's cool. It's just small for me, so I just wanted to make sure. Planning a trip can be another way to get a hit of dopamine, and it doesn't have to be a overly expensive trip. It can be a day trip. It could be probably picnic with the ducks wouldn't be ideal at the moment, but maybe in the summer a picnic might be more realistic. Even organizing to meet a friend for a cup of tea or a coffee or lunch, seeing someone from out of town, or maybe it is going on a trip to visit family or friends or go somewhere nice. Setting goals can be another really good thing to do. and also meditation. So I'm going to provide some resources that you could try for meditation. And is anybody practicing meditation regularly or found something that works for them? Yes, fantastic. Is that online guided meditation, or is it your own meditation? Own. Oh, fantastic. That's very good. I find I need guided because I've got a monkey mind. So everyone's different. It's about finding what works for you. And there is something for everyone in this space. So that's really good to know. So you'll see too that we do get dopamine also from social media, for example, but I encourage you to spend more time getting your dopamine from other places. Now, the second hormone is oxytocin. So you may have heard of this hormone before. It's the cuddle hormone. And for any of you who have maybe had children or have family with children, oxytocin is that hormone that is, there's a lot of it when you've just given birth or had a child. It can be involved in breastfeeding as well. We can get oxytocin when we give or we get a hug. Now, the research actually states that the hug should be 20 seconds or longer. Not too short. So next time you give someone a hug, hold on for that little bit longer. And you can tell them if you like that you'll both get some oxytocin from the hug. Pets are a fantastic way to upregulate our oxytocin. If anyone has cats, dogs, birds, mice, whatever it is, that's your thing. Maybe goldfish. I'm not sure if they give oxytocin. But pets are fantastic for that. So if it's a cold, wet day, your pets might spend more time inside. Lean into giving them more cuddles, kisses and cuddles. That's great for your oxytocin. Getting a massage, if that's someone at home could do that for you, that would be wonderful. Or occasionally a treat from a massage outside of home. Kissing someone, holding hands, also giving someone a compliment, or even volunteering can help upregulate our oxytocin. The next up is serotonin. So serotonin is our contentment hormone. And we get this when we spend time with loved ones. So spending time with friends, expressing gratitude. And you might not have found a gratitude practice that works for you, but it could simply be waking up in the morning and being grateful for one thing before you get out of bed. And it could simply be that you have a roof over your head and you're not getting wet when the ducks are out there getting wet. It can be really simple. Getting sunlight, fantastic for getting our circadian rhythm in balance. Also, when we get natural sunlight, and obviously we need to be careful with ultraviolet rays and things, not so much in the winter, but getting sunlight or light in the morning helps to produce melatonin during the day, which is what we want at nighttime to help us to have good sleep. So that's really helpful as well. Has anybody tried cold therapy? Cold shower, ice baths, cold lake dips? Yes. And how have you found that? You like it?
Yeah, I turn the water cold when I get out of the shower, just for a few seconds before I get out.
Yes. Yeah. And how do you find that?
It's good. It's cold,
Yes.
but you warm up. It's
Yes.
I don't know.
So what happens when our body is immersed in the cold is all of our blood vessels, they vasoconstrict. So they all just like shrink down, and all of our blood rushes to our organs. And then when we hop out, our veins vasodilate and all the blood goes to our extremities. So it's like a pump. So it's like this natural pump. So it gives an energy boost, a clarity boost, mental boost, mood boost as well. So it is free. It's worth trying if anyone's got a lake, a nice clean lake or a body of water close to them, or there's always the shower as well. So it's not for everybody, but it is something that you could consider as it's a boost of mental clarity and mood, and also good for your body. So playing with kids, reading or listening to inspiring content. Just on that, I do encourage you to be aware of what media you are taking in. So it's really important when you're looking at self-care and thinking about mindfulness that you're aware of the media that you're consuming. So what do I mean by that? There's always things going on in the world that are disturbing or sad or upsetting, and there's There's no denying that. And it's not to say we want to be ignorant to that, but it's also really important to be aware of how that can affect us and how much we can take on. So I do encourage you to just be aware of what you're taking in, and even to the point of maybe not watching things that are really violent or scary before bed, and watching things that make us feel good or laugh or make us feel happy, because that also can really have an effect on how we feel. So also grounding is a fantastic way to be more mindful, and often you don't even need to do much. Just being in nature can help you feel more mindful. Does anybody have that experience in the garden or by a body of water or maybe at the beach?
I go down the beach every morning at sunlight.
Oh, gorgeous. Do you get in the water or no?
No. I do some exercises and meditation. Yeah, it's nice. It's quiet.
Wonderful. Yes. I went to the beach this morning too, and there was a man sitting on the beach, and he was clearly meditating and his eyes were closed, and I've seen him there a lot. He's probably there a lot more than me, but he was clearly having his like grounding time and meditating at the same time. And I thought and I was racing along with my AirPods in and probably not being as mindful as him, but I do get that real grounded feeling at the beach. And we also can get it from the bush, from nature. Some people spending time in their garden, hands in the earth. Maybe you're just picking herbs or you're doing some gardening. That can also be really great for grounding practice. And that's a pretty easy one. Most of us can access that. So that's something to think about as well. So for endorphins, we might think about those when it comes to exercise. So that's the probably traditional way we think of getting endorphins. We also can get endorphins when we watch something funny. So again, what are we consuming? What's funny that we can watch? If you do watch things on Netflix or whatever, is there something funny or a podcast that's funny? Dark chocolate, that's a pretty easy one to tick that box. I can do that most days. Stretching, fantastic. Sweating in a sauna will also get us that endorphin boost. Essential oils could be helpful. Eating something spicy and having a dance. Well, all of those things, I think there's lots of little tidbits that we could maybe implement into our day there. So maybe even if you wanted to print this off and have it on hand, and it's something that you could sort of check in to see how you're going with your dose chemistry today. Now, after all those ideas, we've got a short video which brings the science in, and it will explain to you why you might want to practice a little bit more time in your dose chemistry states. So we'll play that video now.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
So I quite like that summary, just brings it all together. So on the next slide, I've just got a couple of my green zone tips, and some of these actually do cross over with the dose chemistry, but there's a couple of things that I recommend that you try if you're able to do so. One really simple one is legs up the wall. So it's a yoga pose, and it actually really helps with lymphatic drainage. So that's fantastic. But it also, when you get into that position, it really helps your body to naturally calm and get you into diaphragmatic breathing. So if you imagine that this hand is the wall and these are your legs, and then this is your back. So you scoop yourself up against the wall with your legs upright, and then you can have your arms outreached like this, or one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And just once you're into that position, try to settle down. You can have a pillow under your back or your bottom, or one under your head, depending on what's comfortable for you. And just start by taking 10 relaxed belly breaths. Now, you might find in that position you feel so comfortable that you stay for 5 minutes. That's great. Just make sure when you do come down that you get up slowly. But it's a really great practice to do if you feel like you need a quick mindfulness practice or you need a quick refresh. It can really help. So some other ideas are box breathing, which we've already practiced this morning. The 4-7-8 breath is a really well-known breath practice too. It can help you get back to sleep. So if you wake up in the night and you're struggling with sleep, the 4-7-8 breath is helpful. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 7 seconds, and you exhale for 8 seconds. So give that a try. Guided meditation on our handout, which we're going to share with you. There are some of my favorite people who do online guided meditations, so you can try those. I've recently been doing some of the Calm, it's an app, but I've been doing some of the Calm meditations on YouTube. Those are really nice as well. Yoga class is fantastic if you can get there and you're in a position to do that, or at home yoga online. Yoga with Adrienne's fantastic for that too. So a lot of those we've already covered in the dose chemistry. So in terms of some mindfulness resources, some other things you could potentially consider trying would be Qigong. It's similar to Tai Chi. Not sure if anybody's had any experience with Qigong before. Yep. Great. So Qigong is a breath body practice. It's almost like a moving meditation. So it can be helpful if you feel like I want to do something, but I don't want to sit still and clear my mind because I'm just not in that mode. A morning or an evening Qigong can be fantastic. Qigong is based on traditional Chinese medicine principles, so taking into account the meridians, and it helps to keep things moving and flowing. So if you feel an emotion is stuck or something is stuck in your energy, Qigong can help move it along. So it can be a really great tool. Lee Holden is on YouTube. He's got a free channel. He's got great 10-minute morning or 10-minute evening or 20-minute morning or 20-minute evening classes. You might want to shut yourself into a room because you might feel it's all like this kind of movement. You might not want anyone watching you, but shut yourself into a room. It's great to do in nature if you can, or looking at nature. So give that a try as well. Abraham Hicks also has some fantastic resources on YouTube. It might not be for everybody, but she's got a morning meditation or a morning rampage, she calls it. And it's all about that positive neural chemistry. And that can be really fantastic as well. Also, sometimes following, if you're on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, following inspiring content that helps you with your self-care, your mindfulness, can be helpful too, so that is popping up in the things that you're regularly looking at. So keep that in mind too. So I've got there some Instagram handles if you wanted some inspiration for people to follow. The first one is me, Renee's Health, New Zealand. Dr. Armin is actually a brain surgeon, I believe. He's got some fantastic content. Journey to Wellness is a New Zealand counselor and illustrator, and she's got some really cool little books, and that can be something you can keep on your bedside. And as you turn the page, there's different mindfulness and breath practice activities, really cool images as well. So I really like those. I've got Look Good, Feel Better there to keep in contact with the other classes that are on offer. So I've just seen a newsletter, and I know that there's a breath practice class coming up this month, and there's a couple of other, there's also a looking after yourself while you're undergoing treatment with the gentleman who's written a book. So hop onto the Look Good, Feel Better website and have a look at what's coming up, because there's some really good things coming up on there as well. Dr. Mark Hyman is a fantastic integrative doctor. I really like his tips for healthy eating and lifestyle. Brie Lennon is a body confidence young lady from Australia. Dr. Chatterjee is another really good integrative doctor in England, and he also has a great podcast. And the Boyd Clinic is a fantastic integrative nutritionist who is in New Zealand as well. So just to give you an example, this is the Journey to Wellness, one of the pages of her book, or maybe one of the tiles off her Instagram. And it's just a nice image. Just that reminder can be quite helpful sometimes. Does anyone else have anyone that they follow online that they find really good for inspiring content? You can always share that in the chat. We've also added the handout there, so that's all there for you. And on the next slide, we have just got another little mindfulness video to kind of wrap everything up, and then we'll come back for some questions.
Learning to meditate is a little like learning to surf. In the same way that the ocean has many different moods, so does the mind. Sometimes it feels easy, even relaxing. At other times, it feels challenging, perhaps overwhelming. But as we spend more time in the water, or more time with the mind, we come to know these different conditions. We begin to better understand what kind of approach is required each day. Some days, we'll need to apply a little more effort to stay balanced. On others, we experience almost effortless practice, or at least moments of it anyway. And as we become more stable in our practice, more balanced in our approach, we begin to feel more confident. Most important of all, we come to accept that although we can't control the waves, we can always learn how to ride them.
I quite like that. I think it's quite realistic. So that brings us to the end of our content. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Anything they wanted to share? Anything that currently is working for you, or anything that you can take away from today?
Can I say, I've done a lot of breathing techniques, and I've done some mindfulness before, but I hadn't heard of the box one, which I think is another tool.
Another tool
to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Great.
All good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, and thanks for your time.
In my Tākaka group, I clicked into the Look Good, Feel Better Q&A area and found the 47-minute recorded breath program. I can't remember who the lady is that did that.
Oh, that might be Breathe Free. She's on. Sorry, you keep talking, and then I'll give you the lady's name.
She talked about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, and then did a whole bunch of breathing exercises, and I shared that with my Tākaka support group just this week, and it was really good. So in the newsletter that I send to my clients every month, the Look Good, Feel Better website is there for them to click to, because I'm really appreciative of all the resources that Look Good, Feel Better are providing. They're so good.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
What was the lady's name?
Oh, Sarah. Yeah, her name is, she's actually got a class. I know there's a class coming up because I got a newsletter. Her name is Sarah. There was a Look Good, Feel Better newsletter that just came out this week. I'm going to tell you the time of her next class because it was in the newsletter. Evening breathwork, Tuesday, the 24th of June with Sarah Lamb.
I think I booked for this.
Perfect. So that's Tuesday the 24th. It'll be on the Look Good, Feel Better website. We've also got on Monday the 23rd of June, we've got Dr. Sean Holt, who will be talking about complementary therapies that can benefit you when you're undergoing treatment for cancer. It's all evidence-based too. So he's 7 p.m. Monday the 23rd of June. And then there's also a chair yoga class Monday the 23rd and a restorative stretching class Wednesday the 25th, mat Pilates 26th. So there's always something going on. So if you can keep an eye on the Look Good Feel Better website or following along on Facebook or Instagram, you will see reminders come up to make those bookings. So do make the most of it, because that's what it's all there to support you.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I've got a question that it might be
Please.
a silly question, but you were saying about being mindful of what you're absorbing, like watching the news and horrible things and that kind of thing with the endorphins and that.
Yep.
If you're reading a book for leisure, but it's like a crime or a thriller book and your heart's racing and does your brain know the difference between that kind of thing and actual real fear?
Look, I think because as long as you're in the capacity that you can switch out of sympathetic, so that's your sympathetic nervous system, your heart's racing, like if you're on the edge of your seat for a movie, for example, and you're like, your heart's racing, sick to your stomach, that's a genuine response from your sympathetic nervous system. So short-term spending time in that sympathetic arm of the nervous system is normal. It's a normal response for our body, but we want to be making sure we switch straight back into the parasympathetic arm of the nervous system, which is our rest and digest, heal and repair. So essential.
Yeah.
I think just be aware, like, is there something at this time when your body's under extra stress and pressure? Even it depends, like, are you balancing the joy you get from reading that with, the benefits / being in that stress state more? So it's a genuine response from your body, I guess, is the short-term answer, as long as you're able to switch and it doesn't maybe play on your mind when you're trying to get to sleep, for example.
Right.
That might be detrimental. So, but if you're reading it during the day and you're enjoying it and it's not stressing you out, then I would say fine. But just be aware of everything that you're bringing into your, body. And is there something that you could, like for your next book, is there something that you could read and it's more, I don't know, it could be a drama or
funny.
something. Funny or romantic or feel good, and just notice the difference. Just see, maybe at this time while your body's under this extra stress, maybe you could lean into those more and come back to your crime later.
Yes, because I noticed my heart rate is generally higher at this time.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing to observe and notice. And I guess that's why I bring it up, because it can be a factor in your overall stress. And so what are the things you can do to make things lighter, more fun? What can you do to upregulate that dose chemistry? And it's so the opposite of dose is can, and that's cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine. So that's the other side. Those are the hormones that we need. They're very important, but we don't want to be in that state all the time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yes, and was there one other question?
Can I just say, in the last 5 years, I've been on twice, and I've got the mindfulness colouring in books, which I find are really good. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I just do some colouring in, and I've got some nice books with nice things that I like fashion and flowers, and so I've found that really good. And I just discovered some painting by numbers. It's an app on the computer, but then I'm aware of being on the computer, so I don't always do that because the vibes of the computer and all that comes into play.
Good tips. Thank you for sharing.
It's been good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. If everyone is good, I'll close off there. Thank you for joining us today, and hope you have a fantastic Friday.